So this is our warm-up exercise. I need you to hip walk forward in your chair. Think of your posture. Pull your tummy in, shoulders back, chin retracted. Start rugging the shoulders. Change to the feet. Let's touch the toes out in front. Just a little movement for now. We're still warming up. Back to the shoulders. We're going to circle them back. Circle. So as you circle back, squeeze those shoulder blades together. It doesn't have to be in time with the music. To your right foot, we're going to heel and turn, heel and turn. 3, 2, 1, and change sides. Heel and turn. 3, 2, coming back. Let's do alternating shoulder shrugs and other side. So a little lean over. Twist from the waist. Doesn't have to be very big. Lifting the heels, alternate right and left. Okay. 2 heels together. Take the feet to do that too, and in. Well done. So for our next exercises, we're going to use the chair. We're going to work the feet and the legs. Now keep your chair facing me, please, so that you are in a better position for your posture. I'm going to turn sideways. It's easy for you to see what I'm doing. I'd like you to sit on your chair. If you're already there, hip walk forward. If you're standing, you need to make sure that you're as far forward so that you're on the crease of your bottom. Make sure your chair is nice and stable. Let's start with our posture. So I'm going to think about where your chin is. I'd like you to make sure your chin is retracted. So let's do a little few chin tucks. Think of your head as being on a shelf and you're sliding back. It's a gliding motion. You're pulling your chin back. Let those hands relax. Let the shoulders relax back and down. Hands are on the thighs as you do our chicken chin tucks. Okay, now we're going to move onto our legs. Try and keep your head in a fairly relaxed position with that chin in neutral, slightly tucked. And we're going to go down to work the thighs. So those muscles are really good for getting us up out of the chair. But we're going to do a simple version. Now, 2 options here. If you've got any problems with your hips or you're struggling at all, you're going to keep the knee bent and we're going to lift and lower. But for most of you, I'd like you to straighten your leg. And all you're going to do is lift it and hold. 2, 3, 4, and down. We're going to do 4 like that. Now, if you need to lower it sooner, please do, but lower under control. So lift and hold. 2, 3, 4, and lower. Don't forget, you can lower it sooner if you like. You're going to do 2 more with a straight leg. I'm going to bend my leg and just show you the easier version. So you don't have to lift it as high, you don't have to hold it as long, and release it down. So bent or straight leg, ideally straight if you can. We want to progress to doing this with a straight leg. Lovely. Whoa, and release. Let's change to the other leg. So exactly the same thing. Actually, let's have a relax in the middle first and think about what is going on with our pelvis here. Have you let it slump back? Are you doing what I tend to do, which is arching your back and sticking your chest out? Let's come back to neutral. Put your hands on your hips and just let your pelvis drop back. I'm going to move my arms out the way so that you can see. Come centre, tuck forward. Think of your pelvis as a bucket of sand, and you're dropping sand out the back, and you're coming centre and tipping it out the front. Come back centre. Do it once more, going back. Come centre and forward and centre. So holding it in that central position, engaging your core, so pulling the belly button back against the spine. Keep breathing all times. Nice tucked chin. Let's take the left leg out straight if you can. Keep that bent knee if you're having problems with your hips. You can again hang onto your chair if you wish to, and you're going to lift. And if we can, we're going to hold it for 4, 3, 2, 1, and then relax it down with control. So if you can only hold it for 1 or 2, that's fine too. Just do as much as you can. Lift. 2, 3, 4, and down. Now as we do a few, once we've done a few, you might find the last couple get a little bit harder. You might not hold it for the full 4 counts. And gently down. 1 more. If you need to, if you're finding that's a bit much, you can always bend the leg for the last 1 and lift. 2, 3, 4, and relax. Next exercise we do, I am going to come up to standing. Anyone who's got problem with their hips, if you wish to, you can do this in a seated position. It's working the backs of the calves, so we're just going to lift and lower. Rest of you come behind your chair. Again, stay facing me with your chair pointing forwards. And we're going to do is think about that posture again. So I'm going to get you to bend your knees slightly. If you're seated, you can do it the same as we did before. Hang on to your chair. I'm just holding my arms up so that you can see what I'm doing. I'm tilting my bucket of a pelvis, tipping the sand out backwards and coming back centre, forward. Let's come up to standing. From there, in that position with the tummy muscles engaged, think about pulling up your pelvic floor, pulling up as if you're pulling up through the head, chin retracted, and just lift up onto the toes and down. Now while you're doing this, what I want you to think about is what's going on with your ankles and your feet. If your ankles are really wobbling, if you've got a weakness, I want you to make sure it's under control. So rather than coming all the way up onto your toes, you might only come part way. Come just as far as you comfortably can. Now you have an option. You can stay with that movement. You can stay with the seated movement if you're seated. Those of you that are able to, what I'd like you to now do is put your hands on your pelvis, or one hand on your pelvis, but I want you to feel what's going on up on the toes, and you're going to bend one knee as you drop the other hip down, or the ankle down even. You're trying to keep the hips as level as you can. So if you had your hands on your hips, your elbows should stay pretty level, same height. All the movement is coming from the knee and the ankle. You're pushing through the floor. Now if you're seated, you're not going to be able to work on that pelvis side of things, the pelvic stability, but what you can do is get that movement still through your feet to get some movement in the feet. We're going to do a little bit more in a moment with the feet, and I'm going to do a little inlay to show you what I'm doing here. So I'm going to show you quickly. The next exercise can be done standing. If you want to stay standing, make it a little bit harder, you can. I'm going to move my chair around to a slight angle. Now, you're going to work both feet together. I'm actually going to slip my other leg out the way so that you can see a little bit better what I'm doing here. But there will be a little picture up above, probably over there. There's a bigger space there, showing a bigger version of this. But what you're going to do, lift the toes on both feet, spread them and place them back down on the floor. Now, if you're standing from here, I want you to engage your core and your pelvic floor, and you're going to push the ends of the toes into the mat and feel that arch start to lift. And release. Okay, so those of you that are seated, both feet together. If you're standing, move my chair across a little bit. You can hold your chair if you need to, but think about lifting the toes, relax them down onto the mat, nicely spread. Engage the core, pull up the pelvic floor, keep breathing. Push the end of the toes into the mat and feel those arches start to lift and strengthen, and release. And you push as hard as you need to. If you start to cramp, then ease off. I like to wiggle my toes in between just to give them a bit of a rest. Make sure you've let your core relax in between. So let's go again. Lift and spread the toes. Engage the pelvis. Engage the pelvic floor even. Engage the core muscles. Push the toes into the mat. Feel the arches rise. Hold as long as is comfortable. Think about your posture. Head is up and release. Wiggle those toes. Let's do that once more. Spread the toes. Think about engaging your pelvic floor and the abdominal muscles. Keep breathing. Push the end of the toes into the mat and feel those feet start to strengthen as the arches lift. Okay, and release. Just give it a little bit of a shake out. Next exercise is standing only. So if you can come up to standing. If you need a chair, please have it alongside. I've actually got the wall here if I need it, so I put my chair out the way. You can see a little bit better what I'm doing. So for this one, it's a tightrope walk. Now, in a perfect world, we would all have really good balance. You put your heel against the toes. Your toes would always be pointing forward. You're keeping your head up, not looking down. If you look down, your weight's going to go forward. So you want to think about engaging the core. Think about your pelvic position. So you're as nice and tall. And you're going to put the heel onto the toes. If you're holding on to something, your chair or fingers on the wall, then try and make it minimal pressure, toe and heel. So those that can join me. Now, if you're really struggling with your balance there, what you can do is you can have the feet a little bit wider. But watch, you're not looking down. Take that head up again, chin retracted. So if you need to, take the feet a little bit wider apart. Just come as close together as you comfortably can. At the end, you're going to turn around, go back the other way. Now again, if you find you need to take your feet a little bit further forward, we just want to challenge the balance. You're going to wobble a little bit here. There I am wobbling too. You are going to wobble a little bit when you're doing this one. We want all those core muscles, and be careful as you turn that you don't twist your ankle, but just taking it forward. Heel and toe. Holding on if you need to, engaging your core, keep breathing. Try not to hold your breath while we do this one. Okay, and relax. Just shake it out. So we're going to go on to the stretches now for the legs. You need your chair again. You can stay facing me. Again, I'm going to turn mine at a slight angle because it's easier to see what I'm doing. Sitting forward on your chair, it's going to be a lot more comfortable if you've hip walked forward on your chair. Ankles directly underneath the knees. You're going to straighten out that right leg. Hands come onto the bent leg. And what I want you to do here is just pull the toes up towards you. Now, if you want to, you can flick your band around the end and pull up with the band, or just pull up with the toes and just let that stretch extend into the back of the calf. So it's the calf we're looking at stretching. Lovely. We need to hold that for a short period of time and release. A little bit of shake out, relax. Other leg. So this time left leg goes out straight. Right hand, hands on the right leg if you need to lean. We're not bending forward, we're sitting upright here, nice posture, and you're just pulling the toes up towards the head. Again, if you've got your band nearby, you can flip that round the end of your toes. I don't have mine with me at the moment, so I'm just going to lift my toes and feel that stretch through the back of the calf here. Lovely. Okay, I'm going to change the stretch. Now for the next exercise, it's very important that you fold from the waist, and we don't want to be putting any pressure on the straight leg. So again, right leg out straight. You'll see what I mean when we get there. Hands are on the bent leg, not on the straight leg, bent leg. You're going to sit nice and tall. Let that foot just relax this time. And what I want you to do is lean slightly forward until you feel the stretch, this time in the back of the thigh here. Don't expect you to lift your leg in the air. Just coming forward. I'm going to turn sideways so it's a little bit easier. So I'm sitting upright. We don't want to fold a long way forward. I want you to keep that chin retracted, shoulders back, and just come forward. For some of you, just sitting here is going to make that stretch work. For some of you, you need to come a little bit further forward. But think about taking those shoulders back, down and relaxed, chin retracted, getting that stretch in the back of the upper leg this time. So that foot is soft. So I'm not pulling the toes up this time, and release. So very similar sort of looking movement, but the emphasis is slightly different. This time hands on the bent leg. We don't want to push on the other leg because you're going to put pressure down into the joint. Knee can be slightly bent if it needs to be, but we're just going to fold forward slightly. So you're folding from the waist. Keep that foot soft and relaxed this time. Might look like it's flexed, but my foot is actually relaxed. Chin retracted, keep those shoulders back and down and relaxed. All the movements coming from the waist. And the important thing is that you're feeling the stretch in the back of that hamstring, the back of the straightened leg. Beautiful. And release. We're going to cool down now, so sitting comfortably in your chair. Slide your hands forward onto your knees. Feet are flat on the floor. Just round your upper back down, stretching through the neck. Coming back up. Taking the arms by the side of the body, just a smooch down. And back up, change sides. Push the waves. Energy, if you want to think of it that way, just an imaginary ball and circle, taking the body and the arms with you, change direction. Stretch across the chest, crossing the opposite arm over the top as you come back. Piano playing, so wiggling the fingers. A little bit of body movement there as well if you wish.